So the winner of last week's giveaway is Sable Skullmuncher. And if you want to win a free Steam key, all you need to do is be subscribed and leave a comment. Now on with the video. So today we are talking about Overcooked 2. I'm sure some of you have heard of it or seen it. It got quite some hype when it came out. So what is Overcooked 2? It's a party game, and as many party games, it's co-op, because that's the whole party thing behind the game. So you can play with up to 3 friends, so 4 people in total, and you have to satisfy the orders of your customers. There's a whole story and lore behind this all, but I'm not gonna go into that. So basically what you're gonna be doing in this game is chopping, throwing stuff around, and trying to cook it without burning it. And of course plating it on a plate, so you can serve it to your guests, obviously. Now if I say it like this, it doesn't really sound like much fun, does it? But with friends, it's actually a blast. I played this game multiple times with a good friend of mine. We also played the first part already, like Overcooked 1, and we had a really great time. Just the 2 of us. It wasn't like 4 people, or it was fun. I gotta admit, there's not a huge difference between the first part and the second part. Mostly just that you're able to throw things around in the second part. And of course new maps and new kind of concepts for maps. But the things that they did add in Overcooked 2 are pretty cool. Throwing stuff might not seem like a big deal or anything, but it's actually quite useful. Because in Overcooked 1 you had to run around all the time to bring your friend whatever he needed to cook. Now in Overcooked 2 you can just throw it right into the pot or right onto the cutting board, which is pretty neat. There's a lot of maps where throwing is necessary, which brings me to the new maps. Overcooked 1 already had like pretty creative maps, pretty cool stuff to play with. But here in the second part, honestly, there's even more crazy stuff. There's levels with conveyor belts that you have to control with buttons or levers. There's levels with hot air balloons that move around and you have to manage somehow. There's levels where you have to teleport to a different place in the map. It feels like they really got a lot more creative with level design in the second part. But I mean, the first part still has some quite interesting levels, I would say. And a lot of those levels really take some time to getting used to. Most of the levels you can't just play once and already be a master at it. No, most levels take time. Most levels take some trial and error. But the earlier levels are quite okay. They're not that hard or complicated, but the further you come, the harder they get. And we struggled. I mean, we're both professional chefs. We actually are educated chefs, but this game is still really hard, even for 2 actual chefs. I mean, obviously, the game itself doesn't have a lot to do with cooking, but a lot of communication is actually the same as like in a real kitchen. You have to constantly talk to each other to not screw up what you're doing right now, to actually get the right order out, and to not like produce too much stuff that you actually don't need. Which brings me to the next point. You should not play this game alone. It is awful. It's a very, very sad experience. Because it's not like you only have 1 character then, no. You still have 2 characters, and you have to switch in between them, and that's a hassle. Like, if you're struggling playing this game with 2 people, you're gonna struggle hard playing this game alone, because you have to do everything. You have to switch between the characters, and it's just a hassle. Even with the throwing now, it's still not very enjoyable in my opinion. But luckily there's an online co-op mode, which also kinda has the same problem, because you need to communicate, and you can't really communicate very well with strangers over the internet. So if you're not planning on playing this with an actual friend that you know, be that online or at home, I would not really recommend this game, because alone it's really not that fun. It's not a huge difference from the first game. So if you're looking for that kind of experience and you don't want to pay more money for the second part, you can totally just buy the first part. That's fine. Like, it's basically the same game. They're both really good. There's a lot of different maps in this game and they really keep you on your toes. But yeah, I don't think I have to ramble on much longer, because it's a very simple game. You get an order and you prepare the order, basically. Sometimes the kitchen really isn't your friend. Sometimes the kitchen just wants to screw you over. But after a couple of tries, you get the hang of it, mostly. So if you're looking for a fun game to play with some friends, local or online, both works, then look no further, because this is actually a fun game. It's very casual. It's not like you're gonna be sweaty while playing. Well, actually you might be sweaty while playing this. Like in the later levels it gets really challenging, but it's fun. It's all good fun. And if everybody does their part, mostly you're not gonna get angry at your teammates, mostly. But yeah, I think you have to decide for yourself. If you've seen the gameplay in the background, you probably already made your mind up. So yeah, Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you soon. Goodbye.